In a busy city where everyone was in a rush, a wealthy man who once prided himself on power and luxury learned the greatest lesson of his life, not from another millionaire, but from the hands of a stranger who had nothing. It was a bright morning in downtown Manhattan, the kind where people seemed to walk faster than time itself. Expensive cars rolled past the glass buildings, and business people hurried with their coffee cups and phones glued to their ears. Among them was Richard Hale, a billionaire investor, dressed sharply in a navy blue tailored suit, Italian shoes shining like mirrors. He was on his way to a major meeting that would decide the future of his company, a merger worth hundreds of millions. Richard had always believed the world revolved around success, status, and wealth. Money builds respect, he often told his assistants, and time is the most expensive thing one can waste. But that morning, time had other plans. As Richard stepped off the curb near a crosswalk, his phone buzzed. Distracted by a message, he didn't see the uneven pavement ahead. His expensive leather sole slipped, and in an instant, the man everyone admired fell face first onto the hard concrete. The briefcase flew open, papers scattered like confetti in the wind. His knee twisted painfully, and a shock of agony froze him in place. People glanced, but kept walking. Some slowed down, whispering. One young man even laughed quietly. A woman in heels looked at him with mild concern, but walked away before their eyes could meet. Dozens of people passed, too busy, too afraid, or too indifferent to stop. Richard tried to stand, but his leg buckled. Pain shot through him like fire. His pristine suit now had a tear at the knee, his hand scraped and bleeding slightly. For the first time in years, he felt helpless. Then came a voice, soft, uncertain, yet full of warmth. "So, are you okay?" Richard looked up. Standing before him was a young waitress, Sophia, her teal vest slightly wrinkled from a long shift, white shirt rolled up to her elbows. Her hair was tied in a messy bun, and her eyes held genuine worry. In her hand, she still held a notepad and pen from the cafe across the street. I saw you fall. Let me help," she said. He wanted to protest, pride flaring up inside him, but the pain forced him to accept her hand. Sophia helped him to a nearby bench, supporting him carefully. She tore a napkin from her apron and dabbed the blood on his hand. "You should probably rest a bit before you walk," she said kindly. People still walked by, some glancing briefly, some pretending not to see. Richard looked at her simple clothes, the tiredness in her eyes, and said quietly, "Why did you stop?" Everyone else just walked past. Sophia smiled faintly. "Because I've been there. When no one stops, even a small kindness can mean the world." Her words hit him harder than the fall. He looked down, ashamed. "Do you work here?" he asked, nodding toward the cafe. "Yes," she said. "Double shifts mostly. My mom's sick, so I'm saving up for her treatment." Richard blinked. He, a billionaire, had never thought about what it meant to survive like that, to care for someone with so little. She noticed the confusion on his face and added softly, "I'm not helping you for money, sir, just because I hope someone would do the same for me one day." For a moment, silence hung between them, the city's noise fading into the background. Richard took out his wallet, thick with cash, but she stopped him. "Please don't," she said gently. "Just take care of yourself." She stood to leave, but Richard's voice trembled slightly. "Wait, could I know your name?" "Sophia," she smiled. "Just Sophia." She returned to the cafe, resuming her work as if nothing had happened. Richard sat there, his thoughts louder than the traffic. The billionaire who had been admired for his wealth had just been humbled by a waitress who owned nothing but kindness. Later that evening, Richard limped into the cafe. Sophia was cleaning a table, her back turned. When she saw him, surprise flickered across her face. He smiled. "You were right," he said softly. "A little kindness really can change someone's day, maybe even their life." He handed her an envelope. She hesitated. "What's this?" "Something to help your mom," he replied. "Don't refuse this time. It's not charity, it's gratitude." Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a check with more zeros than she'd ever seen. Tears filled her eyes. "Sir, I can't accept this. You already gave me something more valuable," he said. "A lesson I'll never forget." From that day forward, Richard's company began a foundation for low-income families, offering medical help, education, and support for workers like Sophia. And once every week, Richard stopped by that same cafe, not as a billionaire, but as a friend, because sometimes the richest hearts are found in the poorest hands.